Oh wow, are you guys in for an exciting video today? Because the time has finally come. Today, I'm holding absolutely nothing back. I'm going to go over my entire $1.4 million stock and option portfolio. I'm running many different option strategies and have some high growth stocks as well. Real quick, I just want to say that to some of you out there, the amounts of money in my portfolio will look like a lot of money, and to others, it will look like pennies. But to me, this is a decade of hard work and many years of sacrifice that I spent. Also, for my fellow investors who are just starting out and to whom these numbers may seem out of reach to, here's some perspective. I was barely born in the US to poor immigrant parents that worked 3 jobs for a number of years. They came to the US with absolutely nothing but the clothes on their back and absolutely no English. They are extremely hardworking people, but all they knew was how to mop floors and wash dishes. They had to physically work for every single penny, and I'm very grateful and appreciative for the opportunity that I have. By no means do I ever mean to brag. I'm a very humble person and I'm just looking to help people. My parents never made much money and no one ever taught them how to make their own money work for them, and that's unfortunately a very all too common occurrence, and it's a limiting mindset that many Eastern European households have, and it's one of the reasons I am so passionate about what I do here. Also, I never ate at restaurants, traveled, or even had proper resources like going to school trips because my parents didn't have any money until I was 19 years old when I first got my real job. That's when I was able to actually afford things for myself. My parents were never able to help me financially, but here I am, I'm teaching you guys, and we're all here to succeed together. When I started investing, I only had about $800 to invest. So the main point that I want to get across to you all, and I really hope it resonates, is just remember, it doesn't matter where you start. What matters is that you actually start and that you're relentless with seeking knowledge and having a strong desire to want to grow no matter what it takes. Aside from putting in the work and the time, the only other shortcut is finding someone to mentor you who has accomplished what you desire. I also want to be as transparent as possible because I know people respect that, and I also have nothing to hide, so I'm very open about my results as it attracts like-minded individuals who have been able to help through the private Discord. You'll have 24/7 access to my entire stock portfolio. On top of that, you'll also get access to my buy or sell signals, meaning that you'll know every single stock and option I decide to buy right when I buy it, and you'll know exactly when I decide to sell my position. Now, if this is something that would interest you, or you're just curious and you want to know more information, simply click the link below and I made a quick training video for you. Thank you so much. So now, without further ado, for each stock, I'll not only give you a brief recap of what that company actually does, but even more importantly, I'll also share with you guys my strategy and mindset for the stock going forward, and whether I think now is a good time for you guys to start a new position in that company that I own or not. So I really put a ton of effort into making this video for you guys and making sure that I provide as much value and transparency as possible. So I'd appreciate an early thumbs up. But with that being said, let's not waste any more time and let's get right into it. All right, guys, let's take a look at my portfolio together right now. I have a lot of different option positions open here on the right-hand side. I'm going to be going over each and every single position, the type of strategy that I'm running, and also why I am doing it. It's going to be very important to stick throughout this video because as I go lower, I'm going to go over some of the options that are a few months out, and those are really interesting positions. And then after we talk about the option positions that I have, I'm also going to talk about all the stocks that I own. So I do have a stock portfolio right here in Robinhood as well. This is just one of the portfolios that I have that I'm very focused on. This is my main portfolio. I also have a Roth IRA, but with that being said, let's just go over my first position right now. So I am selling puts on American Airlines, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm very bullish on the travel industry. I think that after the pandemic is kind of wrapping up here, a lot of people are tired of sitting at home and they're going to start traveling again. And for me specifically, my background keeps changing because I am in perpetual travel at the moment. I do hope to settle down, but I'm traveling through Europe, and I think a lot of people do really enjoy travel. So I wanted to look into the airline companies. I think they are under some fierce competition. However, they also have sold off quite a bit, and American Airlines is one of the stocks that I see a lot of great support in. When I was looking at the technical chart, which I can actually open up now for you guys, I'm going to go through some of the technical charts here as I go through it. But American Airlines has some tremendous support, and I saw that it was trending sideways. So for me, selling some puts is a very good strategy for entering a stock at a favorable price. So I have the chart right here for American Airlines, and as you guys can see, American Airlines has touched many low points. However, it has consistently had a lot of support here. And this yellow line right here, these two yellow lines are the Bollinger Bands. And I just see so much support here. We have gone down to 1850, bounced right back, had a very heavy bounce upwards. Then of course we had another sell-off to 1895, but we could not test 1850. So to me, this was a very easy decision to sell some puts on American Airlines because I do not believe it's going to be 1950 per share. And if it is, it's going to be an absolute steal. It's going to be a very good bargain. So selling puts on American Airlines, I'm selling puts on Apple, and I'm selling puts on Apple specifically for the same reasons I'm selling puts on American Airlines. One of my best strategies is selling puts because basically I'm getting paid to enter a stock that I really want. And I would never do this on a stock that I do not want. However, I would love to own American Airlines, and the same goes for Apple. I would absolutely love to own Apple at $139 per share. So right now, as you guys can see, all of these options are profitable, and what I'm doing is I'm selling weekly options. And as you guys can see, $36 here, $65 here. Same thing with Apple again. I sold more puts, but at 141, I was just a little bit more aggressive there. The reason why I went for more aggression is because I am trying to get put here. I do have a decent amount of buying power, so I would absolutely not mind owning Apple. And then what I would do is I would run the wheel strategy. I'll have a video for you in the description. However, that's one of the best strategies that I have, selling puts to get in and then covered calls basically to get out of the stock if I want to get out. Otherwise, I start rolling, which I also have a video on. Now, the next thing is I have Adobe put credit spreads. This is more of a small scaling portfolio strategy where I'm putting very little capital up front. So you guys can see right here, 555 and then 550. I'm only putting $500 of capital into this position, and I made $18 so far. It's up 90%, so there's only 10 more percent to go. It's only going to be a few more dollars. However, this is a easy money strategy for me because I'm selling out of the money put credit spreads. The worst that can happen is the stock could pull back. That could absolutely happen. I could lose my $500. However, I have been so good at using technical analysis and charting that I have not had that situation really happen to me too much. And when it does happen, the stock has pulled back to a point where I'm very happy to invest in it anyways. However, I haven't really had that issue a whole lot. I've been beating the market, and I've also not been getting hurt by put credit spreads at all. Now, the next stock that I do have is AMD. AMD has a lot of implied volatility. That means the stock has a lot of volatility, and that's a good thing for the premium because as an option seller, the more implied volatility there is, the better it is for myself because the premiums are going to be higher. And every time I go ahead and sell an option, I'm going to be collecting more money up front. And AMD is another stock that I would not mind owning. So I ended up selling the 100 put, and pretty much today it's going to expire. Again, another option that is up 90%. Now, the next option that I have is Amazon. This is another put credit spread, very similar to Adobe. Amazon is another stock that I'm very bullish on. It has fantastic support. I don't think the stock can go much lower. So again, this is a position that I made 92% on. I'm going to scroll down. So two different BABA positions. One of the BABA positions I'm up 96% on. This is again a put credit spread. I'm putting very little capital up front, and then I'm collecting a decent premium. This may not seem like a lot of money, but if you take $25 and divide it by the capital that I'm putting up front, which is $250, this is actually a 10% return in just a given single week. This is actually a strategy that I'm running and scaling with spreads, the 7K to 17K challenge that I have in the private group. I wouldn't really do this for myself because $25 is not a lot. However, you can open up multiple contracts, but I'm limited against doing that because I'm working with a 7K. Well, it's actually $7,700 portfolio now. I'm using proper risk management practices, and I'm only opening up one or two positions because I do not want any one position to become too large given the portfolio size that I'm working with for the scaling with spreads challenge. Alibaba is one of the stocks that I absolutely love. And as you guys can see, I've collected $25, but I've only put $250 worth of capital up front. So this is actually a greater than 10% return because what you do is I didn't actually put up $250 since I collected $25. I only put up $225, not $250. So this is a very fantastic strategy to scale a small portfolio very quickly. Now, the next strategy that I have again is selling puts. So this is one of my favorite strategies. That's why you will see this reoccurring in my portfolio over and over again. And I sold a put on Alibaba because I would love to own it at the strike price. And this option is also up 93.6%. Now, the next trade that I made was a DPZ Domino's. This is a very interesting trade. This is a trade that I got an idea from in the private group. Someone mentioned that this is going to be an interesting play. I took a look at the technical charts. I really enjoyed it. And I also saw that they had earnings. But for me, I have to take risk. If I don't take any risk, then I don't see any reward. And I'm here to take on risk, whether I like it or not. So for Domino's, I did my research. I was very confident. I opened the position and it went very, very well. And I collected a lot of premium in a very short amount of time. It went in my favor. I'm up only 73% on this trade. However, I do expect the rest of the remaining capital to decay, which is a good thing for an option seller today, which is this Friday. And I think basically this trade is going to be a 100% win, just like all of the other wins on top of it. For me, Domino's was a new play that I just played this week. However, I plan to use similar strategies in the future on Domino's because this is one successful and very juicy trade. Now, the next thing I'm doing is selling puts on Facebook. This is more of a large account portfolio trade. However, I do also run medium and large accounts in my private group. So this is more of the big baller club right here because I had to put out $31,500. However, as you guys can see, I'm up 99% on this option, and I've collected over $300 on this one trade alone. Now, because I have to appeal to all the option traders in the private group, I've also opened up a put credit spread on Facebook, the 310 and 305 put spread. Again, I'm up 90% 97% and up over $90 on this option. Next position I have is NEO. I'm always trading NEO. I have a lot of NEO trades. I'm also selling puts, put credit spreads. I'm buying covered calls. I'm doing a lot of different strategies on NEO. As you guys can see here, I have a very small current position on NEO because a lot of my position did expire, and this is a put credit spread, and it's basically the same reason why I'm running put credit spreads on Alibaba. I am up 91% here. Now, this is a credit spread on NVDA, and this is actually a call credit spread. So this is a little bit of a different strategy. Rather than selling put credit spreads, betting that the stock will not go lower, with NVIDIA right here, I actually ended up selling a call credit spread because I didn't think NVIDIA could go higher. It did. I'm down just a little bit. I'm down $57. Again, not a big deal because this is only one of the losses that I have in my portfolio. I have so few losses, and even when I do get some losses, they're usually very, very tiny in comparison to all of the wins that I make. That's what I mean. So this is currently at a loss. I will most likely look to roll this position today. I'll probably roll it for a future date, or I may even roll the strike prices higher. I'm going to try to recoup the $57 that I lost. However, again, I'm not really worried about $57 compared to all of the wins that I've had this week, which is a very common week for me. Now, the next thing is I also sold some put credit spreads on NVIDIA. And basically because I did these two spreads separately, they did not register as an iron condor, but in fact, when you're selling put credit spreads and you're also selling call credit spreads, that actually equals an iron condor. But because I opened these positions separate at different times, Robinhood did not register that. However, I am basically doing an iron condor on NVIDIA. Now, the next thing I do have is Oatly. Oatly has a very good relationship with Starbucks, and this was a stock that I was very confident in because I drink oat milk all the time, or almond milk, and pretty much every time I get a coffee, I'm not going for regular milk, I'm going for some type of milk substitute. For me, Oatly was a very interesting stock to play. They're under $8 billion, and I have been selling puts. I have now come into the stock because the stock did pull back. This is a stock that I am down on. However, I do not mind because I'm just selling covered calls, and I'm very happy owning Oatly long term, so I'm just selling call options here. And the same thing happened with Palantir. I'm up a huge amount on Palantir. I have got in at a very good price, and then I have continued to sell puts to get in. I'm actually running something called a covered straddle. I have sold puts to get in, I'm selling covered calls, and I have not been exiting the position at all because I just continuously sell calls, and if they come into the money, I end up closing that position and opening it up for next week because I do not want to lose the shares. I absolutely love Palantir stock a lot, and I have been very profitable here. So you guys can see $169 just for the week alone on Palantir, but I have also sold some puts that I probably will encounter later on because this is still for 10-15. I do have options that are expiring in a week, in 2 weeks, and in a month that I will get to shortly. I have sold some puts on Starbucks. That went really well. Starbucks, again, is a stock that I really like because I'm a bit of a coffee drinker. I do get coffee pretty often. I think the coffee industry is going to continue to do well. They have very good margins. They have very good marketing, and Starbucks is just a company that I want to be behind. So I continuously sell puts every single week on Starbucks. This is actually a strategy that is pretty recent for me. I have not been a huge fan of Starbucks in the past because it was about $120 per share. However, as of recently, it has pulled back a lot. So for me, selling the 109 put is a very good entry price into Starbucks, and I think Starbucks is a very good buy right now. Next, I'm selling puts on Shake Shack. I love burgers. I love everything Shake Shack stands for, higher quality burgers. I'm a big fan of the stock. I did personally buy it at over $80 per share. I'm a little bit down, but again, I'm not worried because I don't look at short-term profits. I don't look at short-term losses. I'm really much more of a long-term investor, and I think having that long-term mindset, not only with business, but personal life, I have that mindset with students. Everything is long-term for me. I'm never looking for short-term gains because it just doesn't make sense. I want to go for that long-term success, and Shake Shack is a stock that I'm very bullish on long-term. In the short term, I am down a little bit on the stock, but I absolutely do not care because I love the stock and I'm happy to own it long-term. Now, the next stock that I have is Tesla. Tesla is a big position in my portfolio. Again, a lot of people are gonna say you got lucky with Tesla. Well, yes, to some extent, investing can have some luck. However, I did very heavy research into Tesla before I invested in. I've been very bullish on the stock since 2019, and I have been running a lot of different option strategies. So I have not just made money on Tesla stock itself, I've also made a lot of money on the Tesla options itself. One of the strategies I'm running is put credit spreads on Tesla. So I'm up 90% here. I'm also selling a weekly covered calls. This is probably the biggest income source that I have from Tesla right now. This is just the biggest income source I have, period, because every single week I'm selling a weekly covered covered calls on Tesla, and because I do have a lot of shares, it's very common for me to collect $2,500 per week or even $3,000 per week from selling Tesla call options because of the huge position that I have, even though I'm going out of the money and I'm usually not getting called the shares. And if the shares do approach my call strike price, I will absolutely close it because I do not want to lose Tesla. Because in the event I do lose Tesla, I will have to pay capital gains taxes. I have already made that mistake. I paid a lot of taxes back in 2020 last year. I ended up paying so much more taxes than I had to because I accidentally lost the shares as I was traveling. I didn't monitor my position and my shares got called away from me. I ended up realizing over $200,000 worth of gains, and I ended up paying a big tax bill on those shares. So for me, I'm very careful when I sell covered calls on a big position that I have, especially a position that I have had a lot of gains on. But for me right now, because I have 1,500 shares in this portfolio alone, I'm usually selling covered calls. I'm going out of the money, usually 7 to 10% out of the money. And again, it's very common for me to collect about $2,500 to $3,000 per week. And currently I'm up $1,905 on Tesla. As long as Tesla stays below $835 today, this Friday, I'll actually end up making 30% more on this option. That might be about $500, $600. I don't know the current math on top of my head. However, I will most likely make $500 to $600 more today on these Tesla calls. And as they approach expiration at about 1 or 2 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to close this option and probably open up a new one for next Friday and collect another $2,000 to $3,000. Now, the next position I do have is a Visa. I have sold a put on Visa because, again, I want entry into Visa. I want a lot more financials in my portfolio because this week specifically, financials have sold off. So Visa is a very interesting play for me. I also wanted to do JP Morgan, but I kind of just steered closer to the Visa. I ended up selling a put on Visa. Unfortunately, well, fortunately / unfortunately, I am not going to get put Visa. I would love to be put Visa, but again, this option is just going to make me money. I'm not going to have to buy Visa because it's not going to be under $217.50 per share. Now, the next position that I have, now this begins to go out a little bit farther into October 22nd, is Facebook 360 calls. Again, this position I'm up a lot on, even though it's still 1 week out. I'm up 97% on it. And the reason why this is actually happening is it's actually not a good thing. The reason why I'm up so much on this covered call is because Facebook has had a tremendous pullback. They've been having a lot of issues. That's, again, totally fine with me. I do wish I waited to buy Facebook. However, I'm not a genie. I didn't know Facebook was going to pull back. And basically any investor, including Warren Buffett, could see a pullback in a stock. As long as you do not panic, as long as you have a long-term mindset, the stock will recover as long as it's a good stock. And again, it's Facebook. They're not going anywhere. So I don't mind. I did hedge my downside because I collected a good amount of money. People out there that are just holding Facebook stock lost more money than I did because I lost the same amount of money as everyone else. However, I was able to hedge my downside and collect $466 extra than any stock investor out there, which again just shows you the power of options. Consistent weekly income. As you guys can see, I have so many wins here, and this is exactly what I teach my students because I get results and I don't want to be the only one getting results. I want to help you guys as well. So Facebook is a position that I'm up a lot on, but on the stock itself, I am down on, but I'm not worried at all. Same scenario. Now, NEO, we have put credit spreads. Palantir, I'm selling puts. I'm down $51 on Palantir. I did make 17 contracts that I sold for next week. But for me, this is a very interesting position because I love Palantir. I always make Palantir videos on the channel. And this is a stock that I'm very bullish on. The CEO actually went to my high school. I'm positive on their business model. I love their software revenues. I love where the company's headed. I love their brand. I love their relationships with the government, with enterprise companies as well. They have so much going for them. I made a big boy trade here in the private Discord. I actually sold 17 put contracts and it currently says that I'm down, but I'm actually not really down because the stock is not below $23. It's just showing a current loss because maybe volatility increased or maybe the stock pulled back just a little bit, but I know that it's above $23 per share. So I have absolutely no worries. And even if the stock pulls below $23, and I still have absolutely no worries because I love Palantir stock. Now, the next thing is I have Starbucks. This is a poor man's covered call that I'm running. I recently made a poor man's covered call video. You guys should really check that out. I made it yesterday. I'll also put that in the link below. Now, Shake Shack, I have covered calls, 88 covered call. I already discussed that. Tesla, although I have a lot of shares, I continue to sell puts. I sold the 660 put. I'm up $247 on this option itself. And I would love to own Tesla at 660. I think it's an absolute steal, under $700 per share. Tesla is a position that I have so much money in. I should probably diversify a little bit more myself. However, when I see an opportunity and I can't find find a better opportunity, it leaves me no choice but to continue to put money into Tesla stock. One could argue that I'm not properly diversified, but also I am fairly young. I have a higher than normal risk appetite, and so far it has been really paying off in terms of my investing portfolio and in terms of my career and teaching style. I think I've been able to get better results than pretty much anyone else out there by being more aggressive, but also being smart about my investment decisions. I'm not just aggressive for no reason. I'm not just going for a hype stock. I'm going for something that I have a lot of knowledge in, and I'm taking calculated bets on a stock that I believe in. So for me, Tesla is a large portfolio, but I'm taking calculated bets on my investments. All right, so the next position I have again is put credit spreads. I have more Facebook call options that I'm selling that are a little bit farther out in terms of November 19. I also have sold put credit spreads on Airbnb. Those are going out into January 21st. I wanted to do a little bit of a longer term put credit spread for the private group. This trade so far is pretty flat. I'm down about $3. However, that's basically flat for me because even though it's down $3, it's not really conclusive of what's going to happen by January 21st. So this is a position that I'm just being patient on. Starbucks is the only loss actually that I have over like $300. And the only reason that it's a loss is because I tried doing a poor man's covered call. I did not love the poor man's covered call strategy, and I do not plan to use poor man's covered calls anymore in my portfolio. This is a one-time, one and done thing. It didn't work out. I don't plan on doing any more poor man's covered calls in my portfolio, period. So the next thing that I do have is Tesla put credit spreads. Again, I'm up actually $9,800 on this position. This was a longer term play that I made a few months ago, back in July. Just in 3 months, I have made $10,000 by properly finding an opportunity on Tesla. Again, Tesla is one of the best ideas I have. And the real secret is finding the right strike prices to sell put credit spreads on and finding the right strike prices to sell puts on. So for Tesla, I found an opportunity, and this opportunity is going to expire in about 3 months from today. So it still has more room to make money for me, and it's up 83% in my portfolio currently. Now, again, I'm up 82.95% on a different put that I sold on Tesla. It's at the 450 strike price. And again, I sold this a little bit of time ago, but it's up $16,620 on this option alone. I'm always finding good opportunities for long-term leaps or, longer term options to sell. It could be 6 months, could be maybe 4 or even 5 months. That's totally fine with me. I'm always looking for very high implied options to sell on stocks that I would love to own. So the same story right here for Tesla 550 put. This is a position that I just recently opened up. I opened up 2 contracts literally this week, and I already made $725 on this position. Now I've looked at all the option positions. Let's take a look at my stock portfolio and which specific stocks that I'm holding in this portfolio. Again, I have a lot of Tesla shares. I'm a major bull. I did a lot of research. Did I have a little bit of luck? I mean, sure, anyone can argue there's a little bit of luck. However, I made sure to take calculated risk. I did my research. It was a very scary investment for me back in 2019, but I held to my guns. Even when the stock pulled back, I continued to buy it. Back when the pandemic happened, I ended up losing multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars on paper, but I never ended up selling because my finance degree, my Wall Street experience, it taught me that stocks are better bargains as they fall lower. The lower a stock gets, the less risk it actually has. I learned that from the Intelligent Investor book that I read multiple times. I also learned that from my education, from my experience, that when a stock goes lower, do not panic. Don't get emotional. If you have a long-term mindset, you will overcome that short-term obstacle. And for me, I still held Tesla. I never ended up selling it and recovered. Plus, it actually went higher than when it was trading at before. So it's currently $822 per share. A lot of my net worth and financial resources are tied up in this stock. I do have more of this stock in my Roth IRA, and this is a stock that I'm still bullish on. I'm going to continue holding this stock until I at least see $2,000 per share. And honestly, I don't really have a plan to sell it at all until I really need the money to maybe buy a home or some type of big purchase in my life. The next stock that I have is Facebook. We already discussed Facebook. I have 200 shares of Facebook. Big bull on Palantir, 1,300 shares. You will not see NEO in this portfolio because I have a lot of NEO shares in my other portfolio. Basically, I have another portfolio that is just all NEO, and then I have a Roth IRA where I also hold some other stocks such as NEO itself. So I don't have any NEO in this portfolio, but I'm still very bullish on NEO stock. Next stock I have is Shake Shack. Again, one of the best restaurant stocks in my opinion to own. Very high quality. They're expanding. The food is fantastic. I do miss Shake Shack a lot. And honestly, even In-N-Out Burger, I haven't been to the West Coast in some time since working at Goldman Sachs. I used to live in Los Angeles working for Goldman Sachs. In-N-Out, and I have not had In-N-Out since working there. I also haven't had Shake Shack since I left Philadelphia, and I miss both Shake Shack and In-N-Out, but now I'm an investor in Shake Shack. I'd be an investor in In-N-Out Burger if they were a public company, and Shake Shack is a stock that I think has tremendous potential. I think it's a $100 stock in the near future, maybe 6 to 12 months. So I see a lot of upside here, and the same thing goes for Oatly. I see a lot of upside for Oatly, and it's currently $14.90. I can see this stock going to $20 per share, and then from there I have 1 share of NVDA, and then just a couple random stocks that Robinhood gave me. The option Discord I want you guys not to miss out on, because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm a very private person in general, but when I started this channel, I promised to be fully transparent and do whatever it takes to provide you guys with the most value possible. I was really tired of fake gurus selling the dream, but people were actually not having results, and I literally hate to see people waste money on courses and programs only not to have the investment results that they're looking for. I want you to know, naturally there is an investment required to work with a large team of option experts guiding you to success, but just like everything else, you get exactly what you pay for. At the end of the day, it's not just about an investment, it's also what you get in return. I believe in giving more than I receive. The private Discord is a place we can work together to keep beating the market and building our portfolios fast. I'm here for your success. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.